So with him agreeing for me to go and see my people, I'm lit. I'm just like, all right, cool. I'm like, and while I'm down there, I can see Carter because it had been almost a year since I've like seen and like been around Carter, just like giving him a hug, giving him some kisses. The last time, like, been almost a year, so I'm like, I'm excited. So I'm like gearing up, packing, like letting everybody know when I'm leaving, taking my time off of work. And D randomly comes in and just like, you gonna see your second child? I was like, what, huh? He was like, are you gonna see your second child? I was like, I'm gonna try to see if I can see Carter. He was like, I don't want my kids around that little nigga. I'm like, what you mean? That's their brother. Don't say that. That's not their brother. I'm like, that is their brother, D, because I'm his mom. That's their brother. Like what's up? Like, what? He was just like, I don't want my kids around that little nigga. I'm like, okay, D. All right. He's like, so you gonna have my kids around the little nigga? And I'm looking at him like, nah, no, I'm not. I'm probably, his dad probably won't even let me get him, so I probably won't even be able to get him anyway. So like, no, I don't feel like having this argument with you. So like no. And in my head, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gonna have them kids around that little nigga. I ain't fucking stunning you. That's my goddamn son. But I ain't about to poke the bear because I'm about to go see my people. I don't care. So I'm gearing up, leave to leave or whatever not, and he just randomly gets mad at Jackson because King, what did King do? So Jackson was feeding the dogs because Jackson has his little routine with the dogs. When he wake up in the morning, he take the dogs out to the back, let them run around, use the bathroom for a little bit, and if they use the bathroom, clean up their poop, and then come back in the house, bring them back in the house, give them water, and at night he do the same thing except he feeds them. They have their kibble, their raw chicken, egg, a little bit of coconut oil, corn, and sauerkraut in their bowl. And Jackson fixes all that with some chicken feet. He fixes their dog bowl. And while he was fixing their dog bowl, King had ran across because he was playing with the dogs and knocked over the food. And Jackson got upset. And Jackson was like, you need to watch where you was going. You need to watch where you was going. Like, you know how kids fuss at other kids. That's what Jackson did. And D got upset about it because he was like, Jackson don't need to be correcting him because ain't nobody told Jackson he needs to correct King. I was like, no, you did tell Jackson he needs to correct King because he did tell Jackson he needs to correct King because he was just like, hey, Jax, you the big bro. If your brother gets out of line, tell him to stay in line. So he was like, that'll keep me from having to tell him to stay in line. And if when D said that'll keep him from having to keep King in line, of course, Jackson hop right on it because he don't want the bear messing with King. I don't want the bear messing with King. So it's like, it'll be better coming from Jackson than it is coming from the bear. So Jackson took that to heart. When things happen, Jackson correct King so that the bear don't have to correct King. But that particular day, which was the night before I was finna leave, he got upset about Jackson correcting King. Got upset. And I'm just like, whatever. Because he's gotten upset before. And I'm just like, well, if it's his tone, you need to tell him it's his tone. And don't just be getting mad at him for correcting him because you did tell him to correct him. But he got mad the night before I was finna leave to go to Georgia. So that was his excuse for being in the living room and not being around me or whatever. I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to see my people. So the next morning, I woke up, got the kids ready. I'm just like, oh, I'm finna make this 10-hour drive. So get up, get the kids ready. Jackson loaded up the bags in the car. D didn't say nothing to me. Nothing. Didn't help load up the bags. Nothing. He got the rental. The rental was waiting for me. Nothing. So loaded up the car. I'm like, all right, D, I'm gone. And he just looked at me because he's finishing watching Fresh and Fit. He's finishing his show, Fresh and Fit. And so, all right, D, I'm about to go. He's like, all right. I'm like, huh. I'm like, no hug, no kiss, no be safe, nothing. Like, all right. So I got in the car and I put on some tunes, and me and the kids were on our way to Georgia. I'm just like, forget that. Of course, I kept having to make, stops because Kion was, he just turned 1. So, but he gets restless. So I was making sure I keep them entertained with snacks and everything. So we finally got to Georgia. 10 hours later, we got to my sister's house first. We went straight to my sister's house because I was not talking to my mom. We went to my sister's house and she said she was at my grandma's house. I'm like, ooh, cool. Go to my grandma. I get to my grandma's house. I whoop in the driveway. And I'm just like, Jackson, yeah, we got to let King see grandma. Just like, yes. I'm like, look, grandma ain't seen Kion before, so this is going to be her first time seeing Kion, okay? He was like, yeah, okay. So we get out the car, and I get everybody out, and I walk in the house. Of course, everybody was so excited to see me. I was so excited to see them. They was more excited to see the doggone kids. You know how it is when you go to your family with kids. They don't really be studying you to be studying the kids. So they were so excited to see the kids. And I walked in, I see my grandma, and my grandma was just, like, her face just lit up, like, Kiana? Like, yeah, grandma, it's me, because she called me Kiana. I was like, yeah, it's me, and I ran and gave her a hug. And she was just like, let me see that baby I ain't never met, but I've been praying for him. I ain't never met him, but I've been praying for him. And I, like, let her hold Kion, and Kion just looking at her, because he's 1. And I'm just like, Kion, this is your great grandma. This is your great grandma. And she's like, oh, look at that baby. And then King came around the corner, and I was just like, hey, grandma, and this is King. This is Darian's oldest son. And she was just like, oh, hey, King. And King was like, hey. Because he was shy. He was shy. And this is like a new place. He never been here before. Like, who are these people? And I have a bunch of nieces and nephews. So it was a bunch of kids, just a bunch of them. So I introduced King to my grandma and Brittany and my niece. And everything was going smooth. So Brittany sat me down. She was just like, I told your mama you were going to be over here. I was like, huh? It's like, yeah, I told your mama you was going to be over here. I'm like, Brittany. And sure enough, my mama walked through the door. She's like, I'm like, hey, mama. She's like, I was like, Kion is in there with grandma. You want to see Kion? And she walked in there and, like, started loving on Kion. I was like, oh, and this is King. And I introduced King to her. And she just embraced King. You could tell that she was still upset with me. But she was so happy that they was here. She was just like whatever. We gonna bask in this moment. And then Raven came and did the same thing. So now I'm just like, oh, I'm about to be sat down to have this one-on-one with my mama and my sisters after that whole defects and hospital stint. It's like, but let them embrace the kids first, and then we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. So about like 30 minutes went by. They said the kids outside. We sit down at the kitchen table. It was like, I was just like, look, I just want to apologize. It was just a lot going on, and y'all don't understand. It was just a lot going on. And then they were just like, okay, but what about King? Like, what's going on with him? And I was like, huh? And my grandma was like, that baby looks so sad. He just looks so sad. I was like, well, I don't know where his mom is, because his mom blocked us on everything. Because at this point, she was supposed to get King back at the end of July. We're not in October, and we have not heard anything from her. She blocked us on Messenger, and that was our only point of contact with her. So I was telling my mom, I was just like, yeah, we don't know, like, where she is. You blocked them. And my mom was like, you got any of her information? I was like, yeah. And I pulled up her Facebook or whatever not. And because my mom is a deputy sheriff. So she can find somebody if she needs to find somebody. So I gave my mama all the information. And I'm just like, yeah, we ain't heard from her. This and that. My mama's like, okay, I'm gonna see what I can do.